Hey, hi everyone, this is Mukesh Otwani from learn-innovation.com. Today in this lecture, we are going to talk about how we can set up the Serenity framework in our local system. In the last section, we discussed about what is Serenity BDD, introduction to BDD framework, why it is required, how it works, everything about the Serenity we have discussed. But now we are going to talk about how we can set up this in our local system. I'm using Mac at this moment, but if you're using Windows, then you just need to change the drivers and rest everything will be same. So let's talk about what exactly we are going to talk in this video. We'll talk about how we can set up the Serenity framework, how we can add the config file, how we can add the properties file, download and set the drivers, and finally we will run our first test using Serenity framework. Now if you go back to their official site, they have given beautiful description about how you can set up the project. Okay, they have already provided a GitHub link where you can simply clone that repository and you will be ready to use that Serenity framework. So this is the Serenity BDD repositories we have. So we have Serenity core, we have Cucumber starter, Cucumber 4 starter, REST starter, and all these different repositories we have. So since this is our first project with Serenity, I would recommend you to start with JUnit starter guide, and you can say recently it is updated 8 days ago with the new Serenity version. So I'm going to start with Serenity JUnit starter, where we already have pom.xml file, properties file, and all the necessary things which we need. So right now I'm going to clone this repository and I will be using this repository to run our first Serenity test or first web automated test using Serenity framework. So if you see this, they have already created one small project with some basic test. So what we need to do, we just need to clone. We just need to get into the pom.xml file or the home directory, and finally we need to run this command. So I'm going to clone this particular repository and let me download the zip file and let's use this. So I'm going to put on desktop. So this is Serenity JUnit starter master 2. I am going to unzip this. Okay, so we got this particular folder and this is the complete home directory we have. So if you open this pom.xml, you will find all the dependencies which we need. So what I'm going to do, so this is my fresh workspace. I'm going to import that particular project that we have downloaded just now. So I'm going to go to Maven, click on existing Maven project, click on next, and we will give the path where we have exported that Serenity JUnit starter guide. So you can see this is the one. Click on open and it automatically detected the pom.xml file. In case if you want to change it, you can go to advanced, you can change the profiles and the templates. Right now I'm not modifying anything and I'm clicking on finish. It will take few seconds and it will import the complete workspace, sorry, the complete project. So whatever dependencies are missing, it will automatically take and it is ready now. So you can see right now it is giving some error in the pom.xml file. So we'll see that. Okay, so right now it is not able to identify. Okay, if you go back to the overview section, can you see this? It is not able to read the descriptor for this particular version, okay, which is 2.0.91. Now what can be done, like what we can do here? Now if you go back to this particular repo, you can see this the updated versions. So recently the creator of this particular framework has changed the version from 81 to 91. So what we are going to do, we are just going to change it to 81 since 91 is not compatible with my system. So I'm going to revert it back to 2081. So what we need to do, we just need to go back to Eclipse. So guys, Right now I'm using Java 8, so 2.0.81 is working for me. In case if 2.0.91 is compatible with your system, please go ahead and use it. So now the moment you see your project will have two packages, with one is starter.math and another will be starter.step, and you will get two additional files. So if you go back to this one, you will find couple of steps, and when you go back to the main file, you will find the actual test with the pending annotations. So I don't want to confuse you at this moment, so let me delete all these files which we have, and let me create everything from the scratch. And I will also tell you what changes you need to make in your properties file, config file, and pom.xml file. So at this moment, let me delete first of all these two packages I don't need. I want to create everything from scratch, so let's delete these two packages. Okay, and before we move ahead, let me show you the pom.xml file. So first of all guys, these are the properties. So right now you can see the Serenity version is 2.0.81, Serenity Maven version. This is the encoding for the complete project. Encoding parallel test as of now 4, base URL is set to none. When it comes to repository, you can see a repository track, then you can see a plugin repository, and this is the main part, the dependencies. So right now it is using all these dependencies, which is Serenity core, Serenity JUnit, logback classic JUnit, assert J core, hamcrest. So these are the core dependencies which comes by default the moment you import this starter guide. So you can say Maven Surefire plugin plus Maven failsafe plugin, and don't worry about these includes. This we will discuss once we move forward. We will change this includes tag based on our test that we need to execute. And then when it comes to execution, right now we have two goals. One is integration test and verify. Again, we'll cover this section as well. And the additional plugin, one is Serenity Maven plugin and Maven compiler plugins with the final execution of aggregate. So at this moment, do not change anything. Whatever pom.xml you have, it is more than sufficient to start with your first test. Now if you open the serenity.properties file, these are the key value pairs which comes by default when you import the Serenity framework. So in case if you want to make any changes or you want to add any settings here, you can directly go ahead and change here. So let's say I want to add one property here, which is webdriver.driver. I can go ahead and update here. By default, Serenity framework works on Firefox. So in case if you want to change the browser to IE or Chrome, you just need to change here and it will be updated, and all your tests will run on this configuration. So how I'm getting all these key and value pairs, I will tell you in upcoming videos. At this moment, just keep this thing in mind that whatever settings you want to change, okay, like your base URL you want to change, like screenshot settings, driver settings, you can come to this properties file and you can change it. Now when you talk about Src Test Resources, okay, you will find one XML file, and we need to maintain all the drivers under this resource section. Now before we move ahead, let me show you the official documentation, what is mentioned over the document. Okay, so we'll start with the Selenium versions. So we need the moment you use Serenity core that anyways we have added, it will take care of all the Selenium versions. So that is done. So this is how we have to run the test, that also I will show you in few seconds. Now the next thing is we need to configure the driver. So the first thing which I told, that we need to maintain a properties files, okay, which is already here, serenity.properties, and we need to maintain one key and value. So this is the key guys, webdriver.driver, which I have already written here, and Chrome is the value that I want to set. Now we need to also maintain a config file, okay, and in the config file we have to maintain all the drivers in this format. Go through the documentation, and the one thing which we need to mention is the config file. In the config file we need to maintain the drivers in this format. So let me go ahead and create a config file, and this config file we are maintaining under src dot src test resources. Okay, so I'm going to create a separate file, and this file I will give a serenity.config, and I'm going to hit the enter. Now under this we want to maintain this particular folder, right? We want Windows, we want Mac, and we want Linux. So, and if you can see, this is also a folder. So I'm going to create one folder first of all. This folder I will name it drivers. Under this I'm going to maintain three different separate folders. So one for Linux, one for Mac. Right now all are not required since I'm using Mac, so Mac folder is more than sufficient. But since we are creating a standard, the template, so let me put all the folders here. So we have Windows, we have Mac, and finally we have Linux. I'm going to work with Mac, so I need to download all the drivers for Chrome and Firefox. For this, let me go ahead and search for Selenium HQ. The moment you go ahead, you will see now we have an updated site called selenium.dev. Go to download section, come back to third-party browsers. Okay, open Firefox and open Chrome. The moment you come back here for Firefox, you can see a Gecko driver releases, and you will find the latest version which got updated on 12th October. Open this, and you can download the one for Mac. Can you see this 0.26.0? So you can download this driver and you can start using it right now. Just to save some time, I already have the drivers ready on my desktop. So you can see I have a folder called drivers for Mac where I had downloaded for Gecko and Chrome. So Gecko driver directly you will get from here, and for Chrome you just need to click on the latest stable releases, which is 79, and beta release is also here, which is Chrome 80, but let's use Chrome 79. And the moment you click, you will get these particular drivers, one for Linux, Mac, and Windows. I'm using Mac, so the moment I click on this zip file, it will download, and once I will unzip, I will get this Chrome driver. So what I will do, I will simply copy these drivers and I will keep them under Mac folder. Okay, so right now I have drivers folder, then I have Mac folder, and I have these drivers ready. Now if I open this config file, I need to maintain the same thing in my serenity.config file. So again, here everything is given, so I don't have to put much effort. I will simply go ahead and copy this config file. Okay, which says drivers is a folder which is here, Mac is a folder which is here. Then we are setting chrome.driver, and this is the path src test resources. Okay, WebDriver, Mac, and Chrome driver. So I will change it, and I will change it to a specific folder. So our folder name is driver, so I will just remove this and it will be drivers. Clear? Now same thing I need to do for Gecko driver as well, right? So for Gecko driver, we know the key is WebDriver dot, let me increase the size, Gecko.driver, and it should be Gecko driver. That's all. Okay, don't worry about the Windows and Linux right now, I don't have, but everything is same. You just need to remove this exe when you work with Mac and Linux, but for Windows it is must. Path will remain same, src test resource, drivers, and subfolder, and this one. Clear? So your config file is done, Properties file is done. Now let's go ahead and create our first test. For that, I will go to Src Test Java and I will create the first package. This package name I can give anything, let's say test cases at this moment, and I will create a class called my first test case and I will click on finish. Okay, now again you need to go back and see the documentation. So the first test which we need to write, it will include, first of all, you need a driver. Okay, now if you go back to the WebDriver time or the Selenium versions which we have used earlier, we need WebDriver, right? So we used to write WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver, WebDriver driver equal to new Firefox driver. But with Serenity, you don't need to do all this initializations. You just need to write WebDriver driver and you just need to use one annotation called managed, and rest everything Serenity will take care. Okay, so let me show you. So first of all, I'm going to create a test, and this test I will keep as my Google search. Okay, and I will be using @test, which is coming from JUnit, guys. Since if you open the pom.xml, we are using JUnit, so the @test I'm going to take from JUnit. Okay, so just give me a second. Okay, it's a little slow today. Just a second. Okay, so org.testng. So the first thing which we need is WebDriver. So the moment you type WebDriver, you can see this interface is coming. Now I can use this driver for all my further test, right? So what I need to do, I will say driver dot first of all get. I will open the application, then I will find some web element and I will do some send keys, and then I will okay, let me do only two steps. So the first thing which I need to start let's say Google. Okay, after that I want to simply write something. So if I inspect this search box, I will find a name, locator, and the value is Q. So I will say Q, and send keys, let's say I want to type Selenium with Serenity. This is what I want to do. Like open the web application, find one element with name equal to Q, and just simply type Serenity or Selenium with Serenity. But here is a quick changes that we need to make. So first of all, we need to use one managed annotation. Okay, so this managed annotation is coming from Serenity. The moment you put @managed, you can see it is coming from a core library, and if you see the description, it says it will mark a WebDriver field that it is managed by a test runner. So test runner, which is coming from Serenity, will instantiate the WebDriver before the test start, and it will also close once all the tests are finished. It means browser starting and closing sessions will be taken care by this particular annotation. Clear? So this is must. Now the moment you run this, you can see right now we have option of JUnit test because we're using test of JUnit. But in order to run this test with Serenity, you also need a separate annotation called run with, and you need to use a Serenity runner.class. Keep this thing in mind. So before you start your class, just use one annotation called run with, and there's a separate class called Serenity runner dot class. Now this is a fully fledged test which you're running with the help of Serenity, where you're opening a browser Now which browser? This browser is coming from properties file. You are starting a Chrome, okay, and which URL you are passing? You are passing Google, and you're using one locator, and you're doing some activity. At this moment we are doing send case. Let me run this test and you will see the console output. Okay, so right now the test is running. Okay, you can see a big console. I will show you all this. It is giving me some error. Let's see. So first of all, let's say Serenity test started, could not instantiate. Okay, the web driver, the driver is not executable. Okay, so guys, there's small mistake. I will not say mistake. You can see right now these are the Unix executable, right? And the moment we do copy paste in this way, it will lose this extension. So the moment I come here and if I simply see the properties, can you see a difference? These are not actually executables because when I did copy paste, somehow something went wrong and these are not executables. So what I will do, I will delete them and I will simply do a copy paste now, and I will paste it here. Now these are the valid executables. Okay, so this is the mistake which I did. You can avoid this thing. So open a folder manually and then do the copy paste. Now let me run the test again and see how it behaves. Right click, run as JUnit test. Let's see a console. Okay, starting. Yes, our test started. Google Selenium with Serenity, and it also closed the browser. And if you open this is actually working. So now what happened? First of all these things default coming from Serenity because we have added @run with serenity.runner. So all this logs information like news and tutorials, documentation, everything test started. Now the actual thing is started from here. Okay, first of all it is initiating the driver with the capability Chrome and all these arguments. So these things are default because we have not passed anything, and finally it did some activity and the test passed. Clear? This is how we can run the first test using Serenity framework. Right now I'm not using any Cucumber or any other BDD framework like JBehave. This is plain Selenium test using Serenity framework. Now you must be wondering that why we are doing all this just to run a basic test. So just hold on for a couple of videos. Once you move forward, you will understand the importance of this framework. In the next videos, we are going to talk about page object that comes by default with Serenity, which will add so much flavor to your test. Okay, now let's change this browser from Chrome to Firefox and let's see how it behaves. Right click, run as JUnit test. Again double click on console, wait for a few seconds, and the test started. This time it is taking Firefox. So with the help of just a small change in the properties file, your tests or your complete suite is running on that particular browser. So that is the importance of this properties file. Clear? Right now we are not making many changes, but once we move forward I will give you multiple capabilities or the keys which you can add in the properties file. So that's all about this video. I hope you are able to understand what I'm trying to cover. Let me refresh this particular project. So we have only one test case right now. We are not using any library from Serenity side. Just we are using one managed annotation which is taking care of the browser starting and closing. and this particular annotation is running our test with Serenity framework. In the upcoming videos, we'll talk about the page objects, which is the actual main selling point of Serenity framework. Not only the page object, there's so many selling points of the Serenity framework that we are going to discuss. I hope you enjoyed this video. If yes, then hit the like button, share with your friends, subscribe to my channel, and in case if you have any other issue, let me know in the comment section, or you can mail me at mukesh.wani@learn-automation.com, and I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day. Bye bye.